Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Good to have you on board. Busy hour coming up, including Chris Fallica, the Bear, on college football best bets in 30 minutes. Here we go, Pauly. Takeaways from the betting weekend. I have to begin with what took place Friday night. A lot of baseball here, and it's with A's rookie Nick Kurtz. This has never happened before in the history of baseball, where a player finished the game with at least 6 hits, 6 runs, and 8 RBIs. His 19 total bases tied Shawn Green. I was on the air when Shawn Green had that game in Milwaukee many, many years ago, 2002. Kurtz had 1 more RBI. Jeff Passan pointed out there's a genuine argument. It's the best game ever played. So, again, to reiterate here, this is from Chris, who listens to the show every day. He sent us an email at ftm@vsin.com on June 18th. Quote, Kurtz at 50-1 is a ridiculous price. So he was minus 325 before the game. Now forget about it. He ballooned up. I saw as high as minus 2,200 during the game. This is the most amazing stat from the entire night, and I have to credit OptaStats here. Blew me away. So since the RBI became an official stat back in 1920, only one Major League Baseball player has had, listen carefully, over the course of his entire career, in the same game or not, a game with 4+ home runs, a game with 5+ extra base hits, a game with 6+ hits, a game with 6+ runs, and a game with 8+ RBIs. That one player is Nick Kurtz, and he did it all on Friday night.
Oh, man.
I read that tweet, I'm not exaggerating, 5 times in a row, and I'm like, that can't be possible.
Yeah.
There's no way that in the history of baseball, nobody ever, he did it all in one game. So, and that was obviously the biggest thing going in the sports world on Friday night. Do you know that the next day, and people were like, what are you doing pitching to the guy? The next day, he was plus money to draw a walk, and he was as high, from what I saw, as 18-1 to walk in his first at-bat. Did you think the next day the Astros were going to pitch to him the entire game?
Come on. Oh, that's good. Sure.
After that, I think it is the best game ever in baseball by a hitter.
Yeah. It's a great discussion. How high should the number be? How big should the adjustment be? He'd been on a sick run anyway.
Sure.
And he was the favorite. But after a game like that, where do you put him? And it's just, sure, 18-1 just to walk. Yeah, that's right.
I'll say, in my personal opinion,
it's good.
He could bat 200 for the next month, then not play again. As long as nobody goes nuts, he has to win the award.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So, the AL MVP, Cal Raleigh. What's the highest number you've seen on him? Minus 130?
Minus 165 at Will Hill and Caesars.
You mentioned that earlier. Sorry about that. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. He's also in that same range for the next topic that we're going to get into. He was, when he was first on my radar, again, back in late May, he was 100 or 125-1 then. What do you think he was before that? What do you think Cal Raleigh was to begin the season at some books, like Circa? What were they offering? Higher than 200?
Yeah.
So now Judge goes to the IL, going to miss 10 days. Who knows? Maybe a little bit more than that if they're real careful with the guy. And this guy plays catcher, and he catches a lot, obviously, more than DH. They're right now a playoff team. If that continues, Pauly, at the end of the year, this season in baseball, we are looking at some absolutely gigantic tickets that are going to cash. This would be one of them. But right now, do you think that's a fair price? Do you think he should be higher than that? I don't want to really bet on a market that this is a huge gamble to bet him right now, like at that number.
Yeah.
But if with Judge missing time,
I know it's a great discussion because does Seattle have to make the playoffs? How big? Where would they be without this guy? And Judge gets hurt, but before that though, the Yankees are playing bad ball. Who makes the playoffs? Who doesn't? Maybe could decide this. I think you have to take the 6-1 that the Yankees miss. So I wouldn't be surprised though if Seattle misses as well. But you're probably and I know a lot can happen, but you're probably going to see Yankees, Red Sox, Texas, Seattle, 3 go, 1 goes home. And it also seemed like this was everyone woke up Saturday and said, let's bet the Texas Rangers on futures.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they completely crashed.
That was the
weekend.
other story of the weekend, what's happened in the future market with a couple of teams from what's gone on.
All right, so I think we're looking at the best game ever played on Friday night, and this is the best season ever by a catcher going on at the same time.
Right.
Right. Boy, that 10, again, long season here. The takeaway would be if you ever see a bet that's offered on an award and they're offering the field with 4 months to play and the field's a nice number, take the field every single time. The field in the American League was 15-1 2 months ago at a sports book.
Yep.
And then that ties into the most homers as well. In fact, because I knew about Judge that I didn't know he's going to go on the IL, but he was obviously dinged up a little bit. And Schwarber got hot. He was a pretty big number still before today. And Ohtani was as high as, I think, plus 425 when I looked for most home runs. Like, if Cal Raleigh, he's been doing it already for 4 months, but if he falls off at all, there were some big numbers out here recently on, like, Ohtani, certainly Suarez, and Schwarber. The only guy I have a piece of right now is Suarez. That's it. But I'm staring right at those numbers. Then Judge goes on the IL, and then everything vanishes, of course.
You know what's wild is all these guys who are being rumored to be dealt are in slumps or had bad numbers and had a bad week or 10 days.
Yeah.
Yes. Good. So I understand people saying this shouldn't be a story because he's a professional athlete, but I think this deserves some attention. Luka Doncic took a huge step in improving his health and conditioning this summer, adding his whole body looks better after spending 2 months training. In a report published today, multiple photos of a thinner and cut, ripped Doncic in Men's Health magazine detailed his off-season diet and fitness and what he's doing. He's stuck to a gluten-free, low-sugar diet that includes intermittent fasting and high levels of protein and at least 250 grams per day.
Have you seen the photos?
Yeah, looks like a different guy.
I honestly, Paul, I didn't recognize him.
Yeah, I know. So that was the part about this, though, where, he's a top 5, top 3 player already, and now you're giving him like bulletin board material by trading him and then putting all the reasons out there and ripping him about his condition. And there wasn't enough time because the season's going on and he's coming off an injury. But now with the off season, I mean, this is scary stuff.
Well,
he's right. My whole body looks better, and he's faced criticism about his weight and conditioning throughout his 7-year career.
So I got to tip my cap to the guy.
Yeah.
This was like his only move going into the offseason. He had to do this, and he did. Mm-hmm. Rather than, the infamous photos that came out like on game day, he's sitting there at a restaurant drinking a beer, whatever. He's way overweight. He's breathing extremely hard, going up and down the court, whatever. He's like, okay, you're gonna do this to me, and then, like you just said, give me all that bulletin. How's this taste? Now, what do you think? Take a good look at me now. And so, what do you want? Is there anything to do with this? You want to get on him early to win the MVP? Are they going to be good enough? Would you look at them to win their division?
That's your comeback, though, right? Well, they didn't do this. That's one of the biggest moves of the offseason. That this guy did this to me, and they have a hell of a team still. I mean, you bring in 8, and you have LeBron. They were a top 3 seed last year.
Someone before all this came out, again, a viewer, ftm@vsin.com, was asking me about him to win the MVP. I'm like, well, first of all, it's very early to be betting this in the NBA, but I don't think the Lakers could be good enough in the Western Conference. I know. Might have to reevaluate here with this guy.
I know. Well, we saw what he did in Dallas. I mean, you take him to a conference final, and
right.
Those teams weren't that good. And the last one, the Yankees. And again, the pressure on ownership and management here at the deadline. Not playing good ball. Lost 2 out of 3 to the Phillies. If the Yankees lose tonight and the Red Sox win, the Red Sox jump them in the standings. This is getting real. And again, if they're going to stand pat or not make a big move here, and now Judge is hurt, they went during this stretch. Toronto was 8 games behind them. They're now 5.5 up, as Toronto's on a 37-15 run.
Oh.
It's just, they're kind of like the Dallas Cowboys, where it's like, how can ownership do this? How can they be run like this? What's going on? Mm-hmm. And I just went through that talking to all the Cowboys fans there, but this is,
Paul,
it's a joke.
Right now, DraftKings are 6-1 to miss. They might be a little bit higher than that at various books. I've seen like plus 550 or so. If I tell you right now they're not going to make a move before the deadline, would you not just unload on that 6-1?
Yeah.
To miss the playoffs?
Yeah.
And even if they do, they got Ryan McMahon. Okay, what else are they going to do that's going to move the needle big time enough for you to say, I can't believe I bet him at 6-1. It's a terrible bet.
And that's a big series that starts tonight as they play the Rays. So, you're not going to write off the Rays, who are 3 back, and even Cleveland 3.5. And Kansas City then signs Lugo. So they might be buyers now that they're 4 back.
And like you just said, 3 teams in the West.
And here comes Texas. Yep.
Oh, I think Texas is going to make it. I mean, they're odds-on favorite right now to make it.
Yeah. And, of course, Seattle does what they do. They split the 4-game set against the Angels.
Well, at least they didn't lose 3 out of 4.
Yeah, right. And now you got to like this Red Sox team, too. But it just goes back to, yes, but Texas and Boston play 2-2. I mean, their schedules are brutal. Want to know where the money's really going? Unlike other sources, our splits come straight from Circa and DraftKings, giving the insight and where the sharp action's landing. Circa takes huge bets from pro bettors. DraftKings provides a broader market perspective. You guys can't get enough of it. You love it. The betting splits. See the percentage of bets versus percentage of handle on every game across every major sport, helping you make smarter, more informed bets. Get the betting splits as little as $9.99 for your first month. VSiN.com/subscribe.
Well, to tie all this in then and go back, 5 minutes ago to the AL MVP discussion, what if the Yankees are 2-8 when he's out and they average, less than 3 runs per game? They're a disaster. They'd be a non-playoff team. Do people say he's got to be the MVP?
No. Does Seattle make it? Is Raleigh going deep again? And at that position, tools of ignorance?
More baseball coming up next. One of the hottest pitchers in baseball takes on one of the best offenses in baseball since the break. We'll get into that game and many more here on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
There was a trade today in Major League Baseball as the Twins sent starting pitcher Chris Paddock inside their division to the Tigers for a prospect. Some people have ranked the prospect like 14th overall in the Tigers system, and it looks like Paddock is going to be starting on Wednesday for the Tigres, and Reese Olson is out for the year for Detroit. So they made a move.
Good
Doesn't
luck
do
with
much
that.
for me.
No, I think he's the worst pitcher ROI. That'll tell you. Never been a fan of him.
Yep.
What do you think? Definitely panic time, right? A 2-12 run?
Oh, you got to be. You absolutely must make another move before the deadline. Paddock's not going to do enough. You can win you can win the AL this year for sure.
Go get a big arm. Have to.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is an absolutely huge series tonight as the Cubs are playing in Milwaukee against the Brewers, and on top of it, what a pitching matchup as we have Boyd against Mizorowski. Now, I'll break this down like recent form. In July, Matthew Boyd for the Cubs, 4-0 in 4 starts, almost 9 Ks per 9, 1 walk per 9. Pauly, his ERA is 0.67 in the month with a FIP of 1.5. The biggest question mark here is what's going to happen with the Miz. Only 13 innings this month, a 4+ ERA, the FIP much better, about 14 Ks per 9. Also allowing the long ball, though, 2+ home runs per 9 as well. We saw what happened in his last start up in Seattle last week. He went 3 2/3. He made 64 pitches, and they said, well, we got to pump the brakes here a little bit. So his outs prop tonight is 14.5.
Here we go.
There are many ways to look at it, right? Like, how are they going to treat him? With kid's glove, does that continue tonight? Or do they say, we were kind of saving him for this gigantic series that we have to take like 2 out of 3 of in?
I don't think they think that way.
You don't think so?
No.
So we're gonna push him to like 5 or 6 innings in this game.
I would go under plus 125. Strikeouts you can't mess with because he might strike out 8 of the first 9 guys.
Okay.
That's in play.
I would agree.
He's done it.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up.
So I would go under 14.5 outs plus 125. And you're right about how big this series is, and Boyd with the scoreless inning streak as well, how good this guy's been. So,
do you think the number is accurate where it should be? The Cubs a small favorite here on the road? Because I personally do believe that they have to be favored because of the unknown status here with Mizorowski.
Yeah, and Boyd's been, well, Milwaukee, until that Friday game against the Marlins, remember Milwaukee's bullpen's been great.
Right, that's right.
And it had a great run here.
Now, I must point out that the Brewers were somewhat fortunate not to get swept over the weekend against Miami.
Yeah, they're playing good ball, absolutely. But it's a great card tonight, but you're going in here about how you respect the bookmakers for putting a number up here, and I would have to go under, and I don't expect him to go that deep in this game, which he throws a lot of pitches anyways.
Sure. So you can go under for the full game, like you said, 7.5. 8 with some juice. You could also go under in the first 5 at 4. What do you think about this one? The guys just breeze right through the first, right, the order one time, the first time they face them. First 3 innings under 1.5 is around plus 140 last check. You get in, you get out, you move to the 4th, it's 1-0 or it's scoreless, and we move on to the 4th inning.
Okay.
At plus money under 1.5, I haven't bet it yet, but I also don't hate it.
Good angle. There's a lot of stuff you can do with this. That's what's great.
How many bets do you have as of right now on the card?
So now that we can finally bet at DraftKings, I was looking at some of their menus and the deep menus and stuff that they offer, and there's some incredible props that I find interesting that we'll mention later. But Bassett goes for the Blue Jays, and he has horrible numbers in Baltimore. I bet Bassett over 2.5 earned runs at minus $1.30. Because the total's 9.5. How do you go against the Blue Jays? They're hot, but I think Baltimore's going to get to them. Not the same pitcher on the road. Horrible numbers in Baltimore. You also have Henderson and O'Hearn, who have owned them. O'Hearn's hitting .538 against them. Henderson's hitting .400 against them. I think he's going to be in for a short night. And you go first 5 over, but Bassett over 2.5 earned runs. And I also bet the Phillies because Sanchez actually has better numbers than Wheeler now after Wheeler got roughed up. And the run this guy's been on, and he's a big price, I know. It's a big juice for over the outs, but $1.25 on the run line that I think they're going to be all over the White Sox and Martin tonight. That Sanchez can try to pull this off if he can, the run he's been on, and I'm going to go with Sanchez and the Phillies on the run line as well. And I will say, doesn't DeGrom look a little easy here, right? He's 17.5 again, but again, heavily juiced to the over. The run this guy's been on in the year he's had, that he won't be able to shut down the Angels, but it just feels like everyone's on Texas now, and maybe they take good call by you that Atlanta's phoned it in as they swept them in that series. But I think I'd be a little careful here because he's such a big favorite on the road. But what he's done and the numbers he's put up, just incredible. 10-1 with a 1.97 last 15, 2 earned runs or fewer 17 times. 6 wins in a row, outscored the opponents 37-14.
Well, would you look at the run line in this game maybe because they're going to get all 9 at-bats?
You don't like Jack?
I don't. Not for the Angels, no.
Simeon and Garcia crush them, both hitting 500.
The offense is really humming at this point.
They are.
DeGrom, the full season, great. July, awesome. 11 Ks per 9 as well. He can blow. The Angels can strike out quite a bit. They do have a good offense. I am a little bit scared of this Angels offense, I have to be honest. I mean, I've been saying that for a while now. They have some really good players on this team that can, they either strike out a lot or they go home. They're going to hit a home run for the most part. But I think I would trust DeGrom here to neutralize that. Maybe go with the strikeouts, and maybe because I think this Rangers offense now, is it going to be a thing for the rest of the year? Maybe not, but this current streak that they're on, I think you got to buy into that.
Yeah, I believe that stuff's contagious.
Yeah, and I'll expand on the 2 games that you like tonight as well. So Sanchez for the Phillies since the beginning of June. That's the beginning of June now. 9 starts, 5-1 with a 1.5 ERA, 9 Ks per 9. And 0.28 home runs per 9. He has recorded 18-plus outs in all 9 of those starts. He has recorded 21-plus outs, meaning he has lasted 7 innings or more in 7 out of the 9. He also pitched 8 innings against the Marlins and had a 12K complete game against Boston last week. Here's the rub.
Wow, look at these numbers.
The White Sox, since the break, second in WRC plus in all of Major League Baseball, second in WOBA, the second highest batting average, tied for first in slugging, and only a 20% K rate. They have scored the most runs in baseball since the break.
God. If he does it again tonight, he'd be the first pitcher since Kershaw in 2015 to go 7 innings and give up 1 earned run or fewer 5 in a row.
5 in a row, huh?
First guy since Kershaw. 9 innings, 1 run. 7 1/3, 1 run. 7 innings, 1 run. 7 innings, 1 run. 6 innings, 1 run. 8 innings, 1 run. 7 innings, 2 runs. 7 innings, 2 runs. 6 innings, 1 run. That guy doesn't give enough run. Got incredible numbers. Better than his teammate. 9-2 with a 2-3, 2-4. What he's doing?
He's 25-1 in that neighborhood to win the NL Cy Young.
What are we missing here?
Do it?
Yeah.
I was very high on Zach Wheeler 2 weeks ago. Did not have a great game yesterday. Paul Skeens was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be hard to overcome Skeens.
I just have this funny feeling they're going to shut him down again.
Yeah. He's $1.05. They get 7 strikeouts, too.
Yeah, okay.
It's pretty cool because Will Hill and Caesars offer, still put like 6, 7, 8 and offer all the various odds on it. But
that's right. Their layout's awesome now.
Oh, they
tinkered with
updated the app. They've changed the app.
Oh, it looks terrific.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. So easy.
Totally agree.
Game changer.
So here's one that I have my eyes on as well. The Marlins at the Cardinals. Talked about Miami briefly here, how they coulda, woulda, shoulda swept the Brewers over the weekend. It's Cabrera against Palante. So again, recent form here. In July, Cabrera, 2.66 ERA. The FIP even better. 0.38 walks, 0.38 home runs per 9. Almost 9 Ks per 9. Palante in 22 innings is 0-3 with a fewer than 5 Ks per 9, almost 3 walks per 9, a 6.75 ERA, and a 4+ xFIP. The Cardinals are favored in the game?
I don't get that.
What are we doing here?
And what are we doing if this guy's available? Go get him.
Oh, he would look good on several teams.
He has been on fire. Number one, they're playing good ball. Number two, that Padre game Friday, give me a freaking break. 12 hits, they didn't score.
Oh, yeah.
The Cardinals had 3 runs on 2 hits anyways. But that's one team's going to be sellers, and Miami's playing good ball, and that's absolutely. Cabrera's hot.
That's the one bet that I have so far in the card tonight. I took Miami at even money. The number went against me here at Circa, now plus 101 a little bit. The Marlins should be favored, in my opinion, in this game. Not catching plus money. Cabrera's been legitimately one of the better pitchers in the National League. Palante, as I just ran down, terrible.
Rich Hill's going, too.
I know.
His 4 strikeouts? His K-prop is 3.5, 4? Rich Hill going to do that?
I think he went over in his first start, didn't he? I think he went over that K-prop in his first start.
Did he have 3? I didn't even see it. Was it 2.5?
Now I got to go back and double check.
Okay. I don't know. But that's the old man's going against Strider, which you can say, how the hell are the Braves $1.80?
That was one of my thoughts.
How
right?
can that be?
I know.
Oh.
Chris the Bear Fallica on the program coming up next. Awesome on college football. We'll get some sleepers, disappointments, and his favorite win total as of right now on Follow the Money as VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
It's good to have you on board here on a Monday. We're live downtown Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. We head out here to the Progressive guest line now to talk some college football, get some best bets as Chris the Bear Fallica joins the program. Big noon kickoff on Fox Sports. The Bear Bets podcast coming out, I think, later on this week as well. Bear, good to see you. How are you today?
I'm well. I'd be a little bit better if those nice numbers on PCA that we would have gotten would be kind of along the lines of what Colorado is right now. And it'd be better if Spain would have won the Women's Euro yesterday. But we're doing good. Football season is rapidly approaching. A lot of homework and just hunting for some good numbers.
Okay, so let's begin here. Then we'll get into your sleepers, some win totals, but maybe a disappointment to begin because a lot of steam and a lot of positivity about Clemson. I'm on them with several cross-sport parlays at this point to win like the ACC. On that leg, I was betting them at plus 110 in those parlays. But you think there's a chance here that this team is getting too much hype?
I think there is, but I don't necessarily hate your ACC bet there. Remember, last year they went under their win total and won the ACC. It very easily could be a similar type situation this year where maybe they'll lose to LSU, maybe they'll lose to South Carolina, maybe they'll lose to one ACC opponent, and they wind up getting to Charlotte and winning the league. But I almost wonder if we're giving them a little bit too much credit for having such a great college football playoff first-round game against Texas where maybe they kept it closer than some people thought. They were handed some early points in the ACC championship game against SMU. I hate sounding like oh, they won the ACC, but what did they really accomplish? You look at what the regular season, you got blown out in the opener against an SEC opponent in Georgia. You lost on your home field to South Carolina. You're kind of non-competitive against Louisville on your home field. You stole a game against Pitt that you had every right to have lost. Like, they were that close last year to kind of be an 8-4. And so you look at the schedule this year, you got the LSU opener, albeit on your home field. You got to go to Louisville. You got to go to South Carolina. We think BC and Georgia Tech will be kind of scrappy teams. They got SMU granted at home again. I don't know. I see a path and an avenue where they potentially could lose 4 games or so. Now, I know some of their defensive woes from last year and giving up a lot of yards on the ground. People who studied this stuff a lot more than I do think that Tom Allen coming in as defensive coordinator will really solve a lot of those issues. So I don't necessarily hate your bet to win the ACC, but I took the plus money on under 9.5.
So you're very objective on Miami. You'll say, yeah, this team's not doing anything. They have a long season, or watch out for Miami. But a lot of people down on Miami, or at least not buying that Beck can come in and the offense can be great, and they couldn't stop anything last year. What do you think of the Hurricanes this year?
I think this is going to be a very good year, a very good season for Miami. I have some, obviously, people within the athletic department that I have known for a while and are always straight shooters with me, and they tell me that Miami's going to be legit good this year. Their offensive line is going to be one of the top 3 to 5 offensive lines in the country. They're deep at running back. I think they feel good about JoJo Trader and a couple of other weapons they have on the outside. Bringing in Corey Heatherman, defensive coordinator from Minnesota, will solve a lot of problems. They did a ton of revamping in the portal. They should have a very good secondary. Bringing in Turre, the linebacker from Rutgers, he's going to have an impact. They went all in, and we'll see if it pans out. We'll kind of know right off the bat, but I think if you look at Carson Beck as well, I think people are forgetting how good of a year he had in 2023. Now, you can say, oh, we had an all-time great roster at Georgia, and he had Bowers and he had McConkey, but last year was just one thing after another. Georgia couldn't stay healthy at running back. Georgia couldn't stay healthy on the offensive line. Georgia had a couple of wide receivers kicked off the team. Beck couldn't stay healthy himself. And despite all of that, he still led them to an SEC championship. So I bet Miami to win the ACC at plus 400. I bet Carson Beck to win the Heisman at 33-1. And we'll see what happens, because the reason why I like the Beck bet at 33-1 is because if they do beat Notre Dame in that season opener, you're going to see that price slashed. And they still have a couple of other opportunities on the slate to get some big wins. They do get to Charlotte. I think you will see him invited to New York. And the one thing about the Heisman betting this year, last year I obviously had the Travis Hunter bet, but I think this year, after seeing Hunter win last year, wide receiver / DB, you might see voters go a little bit more towards the traditional route of quarterback, running back type deal. So we'll see, but I am high on Miami last year. And as you said, Pauly, if you followed my timeline last year, I was pretty critical of some of the game management and some of the defensive lapses they had, but I feel good about the Canes this year.
Is Beck your first bet to win the Heisman? Have you bet others? Are you looking to bet others at this point?
I've made 2. I've made the Carson Beck bet, and I also bet Jeremiah Love at 40-1. That was the best number I had access to here in Connecticut. And it's kind of the same thing along with Beck. I think if Notre Dame winds up winning that game, he's the best player on Notre Dame on their offense. He's going to start to kind of get the hype. He can catch the ball out of the backfield, young quarterback. You're not going to see Carr ultimately win the Heisman Trophy. But I think behind that offensive line, you beat Miami and or Texas A&M early on, you're at Notre Dame, you will be in the playoff. I think he has a chance to not only get to New York, but have a great year and potentially win this thing at a right number. I would not be betting Arch Manning as a favorite. I would not be betting Jeremiah Smith at the price that they are. All these short prices that are Sam Levitt, I just can't get behind any of these 10-1 or shorter type numbers right now.
Do you have a sleeper for us?
I think Houston could be a very live sleeper in that Big 12. I mean, we saw last year how Arizona State was picked last in the conference, and then they wound up winning. Willie Fritz, I love him as a head coach and how he can kind of rebuild teams. Offensively, they were terrible last year. Brought in Connor Wegman, At quarterback, their win total is 6.5 at plus money. Maybe you dabble a little bit to win the Big 12 as a long shot price, just like ASU was last year. The thing that I like about Houston is more so for the win total is if you look at the schedule, they play some of the teams that are expected to be the worst in the league. They play Oklahoma State. They play Arizona. They play West Virginia. They play UCF. Those are like 4 teams that they very easily could beat. So I think there are a lot of wins on that schedule. They could be undefeated when they host Texas Tech earlier in the year. So Houston, the Cougars over 6.5 at plus money is something that I hopped on.
Okay, so that's a couple of win totals so far. Would you classify either one of those, like the Miami win total or the Houston win total, the Clemson one, as your favorite, or do you have one out there still you're like, oh boy, this is an awesome number and I absolutely love this bet?
Yeah, there are 2 that I liked a heck of a lot more at certain numbers. One you're going to have to search in faraway places for, and that is Illinois under 8.5 at minus 160. There's plus money at under 7.5 available widely, but if you look around offshore, you can find an 8.5 at like minus 160 or so is what I saw. Like, I don't get like this college football playoff talk for the Illini. You look at last season, you got an overtime win against Nebraska, an overtime win against a dreadful Purdue team, a complete miracle comeback against Rutgers. Kansas handed them the game early in the year. I know Altmaier's coming back, but you lose all your wide receivers. Your running backs can't seem to stay healthy. You lose and you rebuilt your entire defensive line. Now, I look and I think you were close to being 5-7, 6-6 last year. You look at the schedule. You're at Duke early in the year, and Mensah is one of the better portal transfers this year at Duke. At Indiana, USC, Ohio State, at Washington. Those are all games that they could very easily lose. Maybe the game in Madison that maybe Wisconsin beats their old head coach up there, but to pay the tax and go under 8.5, to go 9-3 to beat me, I did that. And the other one in the same league, Minnesota over 7.5 at plus money. I think at this point you kind of have to just year in and year out trust PJ Fleck for what he does with his program, the mentality, the culture, and the way he builds his team. It's going to be a little bit different for the Gophers this year. I think they're going to be continue to be more of a pass to set up the run type program, which is what they kind of were last year. And if they get the quarterback play from Lindsey, like I think they can, you look at the schedule, it's very manageable. They're not going to beat Ohio State. They're not going to beat Oregon. But at the same time, every other game is doable. They had some brutal losses last year in just ridiculous ways. The North Carolina game, the Michigan game, the Penn State game, all were winnable, and they still had a great year. 7.5 going over at plus money for Minnesota. I'm high on the Gophers this year.
Awesome. Very good. You can follow Chris on X, of course. He is at Chris Fallica. Bear Bets podcast coming out later on this week as well. Love talking to you today, Bear. We really appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Let's do it again soon.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
There you go. And he was on the Progressive Guest Line. And, of course, that also means that big noon kickoff on Fox Sports, not that far away.
Can't wait.
Good analysis. Very good analysis, as always, from the Bear, with some good 5 or 6 bets there as well. We'll continue. We'll talk Big 12 up next. This happened in 43% of their conference games last year, which is nuts.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Our thanks to Chris the Bear Fallica joining us in the previous segment. If you missed it or missed any of this show, you can always go back and listen to the Follow the Money podcast wherever you get your podcast. He gave out a good 6-7 bets right there, one of which was Houston over their win total at 6.5, some plus money. And we'll continue here talking about the Big 12. This conference has turned into like the new Pac-12 to me, which is like anything can happen, wildly entertaining. Bill Connolly had a great breakdown on ESPN, and he pointed out that 43% of their conference games last year were decided by one score. That's got to be almost unheard of with those, like the competition and the level there. Also, he pointed out that the top 5 teams in last year's preseason Big 12 media poll, Utah, K-State, Oklahoma State, Kansas, and Arizona, they ended up going 26-35 overall and 13-32 in conference play. K-State, the only team to make a bowl game. Meanwhile, the bottom 5 teams, ASU, Houston, Cincy, BYU, and Baylor, went 39-25 and 26-19 in conference play. Arizona State and Iowa State went a combined 11-3 in one-score games, and they each reached the Big 12 title game. Utah and Kansas went a combined 2-10 in one-score games, and they missed out on bowl bids altogether. I'm very high on Arizona State again this year, and I do think, Pauly, there's a pretty good chance it's minus 115 over 1.5 teams to make the playoff. I think there's definitely a path here for us to get 2 teams in the playoff this year.
Yeah, yep. And to your point about how wacky this has been in the depth, 2 years ago, Arizona went 10-3, and Phil Steele picks them to finish in 15th place. But look at what happened last year, right? So I'm going to agree with Paul Stone. I think you should bet Baylor at like 7-8 to 1. Return 18 starters, won 8 games last year, but they won their last 5 games. They got off to a poor start. The offense had issues. And it's a brutal way to start the season, but they're non-conference games. They open August 29th at home against Auburn on a Friday night. Then they go to SMU. But they get Arizona State, Kansas State, and Utah all at home.
It's huge.
It is. So I'm going to agree with Phil Steele and Paul Stone that Baylor is going to win the Big 12. I can't get there with Iowa State. You know how I feel about Campbell. Certainly after that was just an embarrassment what happened in the Big 12 title game. It's hard to count out Dillingham after what he did. Picked last.
Well, and they have a lot of guys coming back again this year, too.
And they win the league. Kansas State imploded at the end. Lost as a 12-point favorite to Houston. Lost to Arizona State at home, laying more than a touchdown. And then lost to Iowa State as well. Remember the BYU game. And just getting back from the Metroplex. A lot of guys were talking about Texas Tech. And Texas Tech spent a ton of money. They're number 3 in NIL money spent.
No, I thought they were number 2. Okay.
You could be right. You might be
right.
right. Okay, it was whatever, top 5.
Sure, okay.
But you win 8 games. They won 3 of their last 4, and they returned 21 starters. Hello. So they have to go to Utah. Tough place to play. But I think it's a doable schedule. And I wouldn't be shocked if they actually have better odds than Baylor in some spots as well. But and one team here, quickly, that I can't get on, a lot of people making the case for Utah. Now, you might say it's because of what happened last year that I've just got a bad taste in my mouth. Mm-hmm. All the futures we had in the easy schedule, and they won 5 freaking games. I do love Dampier coming in, a quarterback that transferred from the kid's awesome from New Mexico, but the schedule's an absolute joke. So I could see it. We're turning 17 starters, and the Holy War's on the road. They have to go to Baylor. But you look at this schedule, and certainly you can look up and say, wow, it's easy. They could win 9 games, no problem. But it's
you think so? Okay.
It's a tough league.
Yeah. Well, they might lose week 1 when they play at UCLA.
Yeah, it's possible.
Could lose that one.
Yeah.
Texas Tech at home, obviously not going to be a gimme. Arizona State at home, probably going to be total bedlam.
Yeah,
but BYU at Baylor.
Yeah. It was a fluke last year because of how many injuries they had at the quarterback position and the whole mess with Rising. Is he in? Is he out? He's questionable. The line moves. Oh, he doesn't play. And then he got in there. He got hurt again and wasn't so. But certainly, Dampier is going to be a dual threat that's going to, I think, could lead him to a successful season.
I'm with you because we're in the same boat here because how they handled Rising on game day last year throughout pretty much the entire season really soured me on that coach. And I love him. And the program. And I need to get over that because that was just totally reckless and irresponsible what they did. Playing games the entire time. So here, I'll expand here on Texas Tech. I'll give you some of the names. More importantly, I think the numbers of what these guys did. Spent a ton of money, right, overall. Top 5 NIL money. So they brought in, these are all additions on offense. They brought in USC running back Quentin Joyner. What did he do last year? 7.5 yards per carry. They brought in a receiver by the name of Reggie Virgil from Miami of Ohio, almost 20 yards per catch. They brought in a tight end from Louisiana, Terrence Carter, 10.5 yards per target. They brought in a receiver from Incarnate Word, Roy Alexander, 1,100 yards, 13 touchdowns. They brought in a left tackle from Miami of Ohio, Will Jados, who was second team All-MAC. So you bring in those guys, and you have other players returning like Caleb Douglas, Coy Eakin. They combined for 1,500 yards receiving and 13 touchdowns. The running backs are back, and 2 guys on the offensive line. Then you look at the defense and what some of the production was like last year. First of all, their new defensive coordinator improved their defense from 102 to number 54 in Bill Connolly's defensive SP plus last year. He cut it in half. So they brought in A.J. Holmes from Houston, Lee Hunter from UCF, and Skylar Gill-Howard from Northern Illinois on the defensive line. They combined for 20.5 tackles for losses and 32 run stops with 8 sacks last year. 3 guys combined for those numbers. They brought them all in. So they brought in a couple of edge rushers who combined for 16 tackles for losses, 12 run stops, and 9.5 sacks. They brought in productive cornerbacks that each had good numbers, broke up passes, picked off a bunch of passes, and they also brought in like a really impactful safety from 2023 when he was at North Carolina State. That's to go along with the guys that they have back. So you've probably heard by now a lot of hype about Texas Tech. Those are the reasons why. And tied into if we really expect this conference to like continue being the path that it went down last year, and I kind of do.
And then things have changed, right? Colorado's supposed to be bad. Mm-hmm. They were bad last year, but Oklahoma State's supposed to be lousy again. It's going to take Rich Rod a while. The fall off at Arizona. Kansas is not supposed to take a step back.
That must have been a one-year wonder 2 years ago then for Kansas.
Yeah, right. Some people I think in the guide are going to make the case for Cincinnati maybe as well.
I believe you're correct.
Right. So you look out for that, and plus then Ratzliff leaves and goes to transfers to Tulane. So BYU loses their quarterback, and what happened there. So how about, do you get anything at TCU? TCU might be worth it. They won 9 games last year.
I don't have a bet on them at all.
They lost some people too. They only returned 10 starters, but maybe 14 starters. But that's interesting that they have to go to Arizona State, but they get Baylor at home. And, of course, they start with Belichick on that Monday night game.
TCU brings back 64% of their production from last year, 31st in the country, 145 starts. And part of the reason why I like Arizona State so much is because they bring back the second most production in the entire country. I know it's all about NIL, transfer portal, but 79% of ASU's production is back from a year ago. That's only behind Clemson. On offense, 78%. On defense, 79%. So the both each way is pretty much the same. And they have 221 starts returning. That's how many starts their players that made last year and in their career they have coming back this year. They have 61 starts incoming with the transfer portal. Texas Tech has 129 starts coming in. That's huge to go along with 156 starts from the guys that they have coming back.
It's hard. Not just this conference, but all of college football. With NIL and everyone changing teams here. That was an incredible quote from Loxley about what do I do? We made a bowl 3 years in a row, and I got my veterans here, but then the new guys come and I pay them, and then I lost the locker room.
I know it.
How you handle it?
It's a totally different world, Pauly, than 2 years ago even.
Yep. Betting on sports, why not try the races? First Bet lets you wager on hundreds of horse races every day from top tracks across the U.S. and around the world. Sign up firstbet.com, promo code VSiN200. Claim a 20% rebate for your first 60 days up to $200. Head to firstbet.com today.
Yeah, you like Baylor? I'm split, but I'm this is why part of the reason why I don't have a bet on it either. I bet Arizona State last January at 300-1 to win the title. I'm kind of split on them and Texas Tech to win it, but also I kind of expect some bedlam again this year in the conference. So, all right, let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. We'll talk Toronto Blue Jays coming up next. Michael Distano is going to join us from Covers.com. They've been betting and finding a way to bet this team every single game. We'll find out his best bets for tonight's action coming up next.